Hey everybody, it's Dave and I'm back with another Work Knives of the World. If you've been following along with me, I really appreciate it. This is number 10 and in a very short amount of time we've gotten to number 10, our 10th place. Little short recap, here's the places that we've been so far in this Work Knives of the World series. Yeah, as you can see, we've covered quite a bit, but we still have a lot of places to go. I hope I continue on with this. I have every intention to do so. In this one here, we're going to be going to Siberia and checking that out. But here's a quick pick of the knives that have been in this video series so far. Right here. Yeah, and actually only a couple of those knives I had made before I started this series. The rest I've been making as we've been going along. And yeah, so anyway, like I said, this one here we're going to be going to Siberia, and we're going to be talking about the Yakut knife. I did a lot of research, watched a lot of videos, did a lot of what I could to find out, because I'm not familiar at all with that region or their cultures or anything like that before I started this, but I thought it was a very interesting knife. Yeah, it's a fairly common knife that they use over there daily. Yeah, it's the city of Yakutsk. It's either the coldest city in the world or it's one of the coldest. When you get that cold, who cares? Who's fighting over the top one, you know? I mean, we're talking temperatures of minus 95 Fahrenheit. The entire city of Yakutsk is built on permafrost. And they actually have the houses and big buildings, they have a limit on how tall they're allowed to build on and that kind of thing because of the fact that it's built on permafrost. And the houses are like built up on columns so that when you're heating the house inside, it's not melting the permafrost under, foundation. They have a museum there where you can go underground. They have an ice slide. You can slide down inside and pretty light, different colored lights and stuff in there. And it's really cool. I highly suggest you find a video on Yakutsk or the Yakutsk Museum there, which is just outside the city, I guess, and check it out. And the people there are fascinating. Very rich. Yeah, according to Wikipedia, the Yakut knife is centuries old. They average 4 to 7 inch blades and 1 to 1.5 inch wide blades. And you get a lot of misinformation on Wikipedia, so you can't really trust everything you see on there. But you just kind of take it with a grain of salt, do a little bit more research, gives you a place to start. And I went all over on this video for this research for the Yakut knife. So another thing that makes a Yakut knife unique is that it has an asymmetrical blade. It has a fuller, or what some may call a blood groove, on one side, and then it has a convex edge on the opposite side. And here's some examples of true Yakut knives that I found on the internet. Yeah, so there's quite a few different styles, but one unique feature is that they all have that fuller, that indented part on one side of the blade. and it really struck my curiosity as to how that came about. And so, according to Wikipedia, it was to conserve on metal, which sounds reasonable. You know, that they had to mine their own iron ore and smelt it and everything over there, and it was somewhat limited. I guess mining is a very, very popular venture there, but iron ore was somewhat scarce. So the blacksmiths, in order to save on steel, they would pound them out with that fuller on the one side, and that would stretch the metal out, so they didn't have, and it made the blades a lot lighter too, without compromising for strength. Very similar in how an I-beam's constructed. If you took an I-beam apart, each individual part would not be as strong as, you know, the way it's all put together. And the same with, you know, like a Yakut knife with having the fuller in there. It's not really, it's making it lighter by not having all that metal in there, but doesn't compromise on the strength of it because of the way it's shaped and designed. And I found that very interesting. Yeah, but continuing on with this fuller discussion, I did come across a comment. I watched a video. There's a guy, Survival Russia, and really neat guy, and makes great videos. And he made a Yakut knife and a birch sheath for it out of birch bark. And traditionally they're made, I should say, with birch burl handles. But you can find them made out of everything, you know. But yeah, this guy's on his channel, Survival Russia. You can go back, check him out, and watch the video I'm talking about. But he talked to a fella one time. I think he might have been somebody from Siberia, and he told him, you know, that whole thing was to the concave, the fuller in the blade was to conserve metal, and this old gentleman just laughed and said, yeah, that's what they say, but in actuality, that's not the case. It was just to make them lighter, was the only reason. But then somebody left a comment on that video, and they said something that was very interesting to me. Is they said that the design of this blade is so old, it goes way back when they were making knives out of bone. And when you make a knife out of a bone, you know, the bone, and it has the hollows, the marrow section of the bone. And you know, if you were to cut that down the middle and make two blades, then you'd have a natural fuller in that blade of bone. Or here's a couple of pictures I found, you know, of bone knives. Yeah, so they're very interesting. Regardless of how the design of the blade came about, it's still a very interesting design. And on a traditional Yakut knife, the side that has that fuller would be completely flat, and it makes it super easy to sharpen on a stone, because that would really be the only side you need to touch up every once in a while. And you just put it flat on a stone on that one side, and boom, and it's convex on the other. Give it a couple of quick swipes on the other side if needed, if you have a burl, and you're good to go again, you know. So, as you know, I make a knife for every one of these videos, and so I made this one here. It's another dangle type sheath. This one I used a D-ring that I purchased, nickel plated D-ring and everything for the belt loop that just snaps and everything. And then I did wet mold this one, so it fits pretty snug, but not too snug. And this is what we have right here. I'm gonna wipe it off. It's got a little dust from the sheath there. So on this one here, I used a piece of spalted maple that I had. And another thing I should point out is traditionally the handles are egg-shaped on a Yakut knife. This one's somewhat egg-shaped, And you know, we're talking, these are really survival knives for these people. I mean, they might use them to, you know, fillet fish and do all these other things over there, but you know, if you're living in an extreme environment like they do, a knife is really, any knife you have is really a survival knife, you know. Now, I didn't forge this because I don't forge anymore. I just do stock removal, which is grinding away material. So I wasn't really able to get a good fuller in this, and I ended up spending the time to grind that one out, and I put it on the wrong side. I did find a couple examples online of Yakut knives with the fuller on the left side of the blade, but it seems like 99.9% of them, the fuller would be on this side. So that part of it's wrong. And the blade's way too thick. This is a full 3/16 of an inch, and it would be thinner to make it lightweight, and this is not by no means a lightweight knife. I found different styles of blade attachment to the handle. The one I opted for that I liked the best was I watched a video of an old man, and I don't think it even had any audio in it. It was just an old man making a Yakut knife with a forge and everything, and it seemed like he used some type of a resin mixed with sawdust and put that in, so that's what I did. I just took some sawdust and mixed it with some resin, and that's how I affixed the handle, you know, stick tang to it. I think it was in this one because the blade's so heavy and this wood isn't that light. I actually cheated a little bit, and when I hollowed out the handle for to accept the tang, I threw some BBs down here in the bottom. Now I've got so much resin in there, you know, they're not shaking around or anything, but it added a little bit of weight to this end of it to kind of help balance it out a little bit, because it is such a chunky blade. I do have the convex edge on this side here. It's somewhat of a convex on both edges, although this side I did bevel it. But, you know, that's just, it is what it is. Because it's so thick. Yeah, so I think this would be a really good knife to process firewood. I'm not going to fillet a fish with it or anything. It's just too thick of an edge. But you could definitely baton it and split, make kindling, you know, process firewood, that kind of thing. It might make good feathers. I haven't even tried it out yet. I need to touch the edge up just a little bit more. I've got it sharp, but it's not where you can shave with it yet or anything. So I need to spend a couple more minutes on that and get that going. But yeah, I love working with this spalted wood. I'm getting low on it, but I did find this chunk of maple that had some nice spalting in it, and so I have to use that. And like I said, it's kind of egg shaped. But yeah, Yakut knives, man, very interesting. Very rich, centuries old history. Had a lot of fun making this and doing the research on it. And yeah, we're at number 10. Can't believe it. Come a long way. Yeah, the sheath I didn't talk about, but yeah, it's just like similar to those others. The only thing different, I put this red leather around the, what do you call it, the mouth of the sheath, you know, just to kind of stiffen it up, because this is that thin patent leather I'm trying to use up that I have a bunch of. So it kind of helps stiffen this opening up by putting that around it, and the rivet, and then I use that red stitching again in it. And yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but it came out cool. It came out usable, you know, and it fits in there very nicely. And yeah, so this is going to be added to the collection of the Work Knives of the World series. And yep, got them all kept together in one spot, and we'll continue on. Not sure where we're going next, but we'll go somewhere, and I hope you follow along with me this day. I appreciate it. We'll see you in the next one.